Chris Martin, you say that Stan Marsh is a dick?
Stand ground, bro.
Wow, this is happening so fast.
Hello, Stan. Steve Nelson with Endorsement Management. Are you ready for your Nike commercial?
Yes.
Yes. No hesitation. Yes, I'll take the Nike.
People ask me, you never took the bracelet off? Not once?
No.
No. Never. Not ever.
Stand for something.
What do I
Stand
do?
up.
I stand ground.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of SMB, a South Park review, where each and every week me and my bros from all the different hoes and all the different area codes get together and talk South Park. And this week, once again, I'm not alone. Not with Joe Vernola. I'm back with Canada Joe. Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I could go on a bit of a rant myself, but maybe we can save that for another time.
Maybe we can save that for another day. Let's get right into this episode. This is SMB number 239, season 16, episode 13. A Scars for Applause.
That's a good one.
All right, let's talk about A Scars for Applause. It is the 13th episode, as I mentioned, of season 16, the 236th overall episode. First aired October the 31st, 2012, as I mentioned, SMB 239. So here's what this episode is going to parody or make light of. Back in 2012, prior, I guess about a week before, because as South Park does, they like to make episodes that are relevant within like the last week when they're making new episodes.
Yep.
Lance Armstrong had just been outed for doing steroids. Therefore, all of his Tour de France wins ended up being vacated. It was a big deal because Lance Armstrong got cancer, survived, came back and won the Tour de France. And then he became this symbol of hope, right? This guy who overcame adversity. And then he climbed through the ranks to become a champion. Now, before we begin, I just want to point this out there. If I ever get cancer and I survive, fuck you guys. I'm taking steroids, okay? And then I'm going to try to be the best at something. I don't give a fuck. I almost died. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the guy won the Tour of France with one nut. I mean, the Uniballer, right? One nut. But yeah, it was slightly comical because he did it with Oprah Winfrey of all people, which that was weird in itself. It was just like this entire time, no, never did. And then all of a sudden, just like, yeah, I did. It's like, dude, really?
Right. Well, when he got caught, Yeah.
So. And then not only himself, but his teammates as well. They were, doing like blood doping and all
everybody
this kind of stuff.
It. So it's at that point, fuck it. Same thing with the 90s with baseball. Mark Wire, Sammy Sosa. People were all doing steroids back then.
I've always said there should be like a steroid division in sports. So it's like you have like the regular division, and then you have like the steroid division where it's just fuck it, just do like whatever you want and be like break every world record. I would pay money.
If Power Slap can be on the air,
baseball, I would pay that.
If Power Slap can be on the air, Joe, there's no reason why we can't get steroid division baseball.
We could do a whole thing on that. That is the dumbest fucking
I know. We don't need to go down. I'm just using it as an example. I'm just saying, if Power Slap can be on the air, fuck.
It's like
steroid
one
division,
slap and your career's over.
I'm with it. So here's how this episode starts from the Lance Armstrong parody. A serious doping scandal shakes everyone's faith in the beloved icon, Lance Armstrong. And as a result, everyone who once supported the fallen hero is now cutting off their symbolic yellow wristbands. They don't actually say Lance Armstrong because they probably don't want to get sued or slander, but they allude to it, the yellow wristbands, because they don't want Nike coming after them.
Live Strong, I think it was called,
Live Strong, right.
Yeah.
The episode begins at Walgreens where people are lining up to have their yellow wristbands cut off. Cartman is in line telling how everyone got duped and how he feels like a tool. Mr. Mackey are also getting their wristbands cut off, while Mr. Mackey is taking it worse because he does not know what to believe in anymore.
What?
Cartman gets to have his wristband cut off, but it is shown that he wears actually many wristbands because at the time, and I don't know if kids are still doing it now, but back in 2012, I'm out of high school, but I'm still in my young 20s. Well, yeah, 23, 24. I might have had one, but there were a lot of people who had wristbands, and they, as a society itself, we seem to be capitalizing on putting these messages on wristbands, and Cartman, of course, takes it to the extreme by having, about a dozen on different arms and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So that way he can feel cute and fit in. Right?
He's always been a slave to those kind of trends, so it was right on brand for Cartman. So the
other boys, of course, are waiting for Cartman now after that, and then Cartman, when he when Kenny arrives, Kenny makes a statement that Cartman is more stupid because he bought a wristband. When Cartman counteracts that statement, Stan just walks away saddened.
Yep.
Of course, now at Stan's house, Randy is also upset as he believed in the guy and shows Stan some of the stuff coming out about the guy. And instead of the guy being Lance Armstrong,
oh boy,
South Park decides to choose Jesus as the guy.
Yep.
As we find out that Jesus might have been apparently taking HGH.
Well, while he was on the crucifix. Yeah.
While he was on the crucifix. Yeah.
Oh God.
All right, so let's jump in a couple clips here.
Oh, so good.
I accidentally clicked the wrong button. Share screen, not video file. Okay. All right, here we go. At Walgreens.
Next, please. You are sure you want to do this?
Of course I'm sure.
Okay, roll up your sleeve.
Got a sleeve, and he gets his wristband cut.
I can't believe we all got duped. I've been wearing this stupid thing for months. I feel like such a tool.
If it's safely
Lying
removed.
jerk.
Mr. Mackey.
Hold still, please.
I don't know what to believe in anymore.
So jumping ahead now, we see Cartman, as I mentioned. Look at all the different wristbands he has on his arm.
Fraud. Good riddance
Spits
to
on it
you.
after he gets
All
cut.
right, I'm next. Get this thing off of me.
Did you do it? Yep, it's done. You know I spent $5 on that stupid thing.
I told you it was a bad idea, says Kenny. And then Cartman here responds.
Oh, don't even start, Kenny. Just because you guys didn't buy into the bracelets doesn't mean you're smarter than me, okay?
Stan, as I mentioned, he's, having a little bit of emotional resolve here, right? Because he's had a good amount of adventures with Jesus.
He clearly feels differently than everybody else at this point.
Yeah, Kyle obviously being of Jewish descent doesn't care. Kenny, his parents aren't really that religious, and neither is Cartman. So I definitely would say it's more Stan who's probably saddened by the fact, just because, again, all of his faith and the different times they've had Jesus, they've helped Jesus. Jesus has saved them.
Yep.
We can't forget about Jesus versus Satan, the boxing match of the century.
Jesus Christ.
We can't forget about can't forget about the fact that Stan just recently went through a couple seasons ago with the Easter egg special. He's got a love for Jesus.
Yeah, they go way back. They're tight.
Go way freaking back. Stan now walks
What's wrong
off.
with him?
As mentioned, Stan now walks into the house, and his dad is going to be upset. Randy.
I feel like such an idiot.
It's all right, Dad.
But I wore that wristband everywhere, and the guy's a complete phony.
So it's interesting the commentary they're making on this, because I feel like this is what a lot of people were saying, not necessarily with the wristband. They were just saying in general they felt like an idiot, supporting Lance Armstrong at the time because of his story.
Yeah.
However, not the case.
Nope.
There's even more coming out about it today. These latest tests are once again confirming that the performance-enhancing drug HGH was in the body of Christ at the time of crucifixion.
So basically, what they were alluding to is that somehow the HGH gave Christ superpowers, and that's how he turned water into wine, and
That's how he was able to endure the pain while on the crucifix.
on the crucifix. Yeah.
All over the country, people are having their "What would Jesus do" wristbands cut off.
What would Jesus do? This actually ties in to a remark I was going to make earlier when we were during the beginning of the show when you're talking about the right nut situation, and you got this bracelet. So I'm sure you've seen the movie Ready to Rumble with David Arquette.
Yeah.
When they're at the beginning of the movie and they're at the WCW Nitro, and David Arquette's co-star asks, he goes, these seats bite, and then David Arquette says, these seats bite.
Yep.
And then the other guy goes, hey, don't say that. Uncle Frankie lost his left nut. Nom. And then they all have a moment, and he goes, hey, if you lose your right nut, or maybe you lose your right nut. If you lose your right nut, is your left nut now your right nut? And then, of course, we also had the bracelets. They had WWKD. What would King do? Whenever I have a problem, whenever I have something I have to overcome, I can look down at my wrist and just think, what would King do? Rocks. I got two. That's hard.
That's okay. I got a spare.
Now I've gone on a diatribe there. Here's more of the news.
It was just last week a team of scientists found traces of HGH on the shroud of Turin, along with several other illegal compounds and painkillers. Without a doubt, there was the HGH in the body of Christ.
In the body of Christ.
What country is that accent from?
I gotta think
Netherlands, or was it Denmark?
Denmark. It's gotta
it reminds
be
me of Denmark from the trolling episode.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you cut your bracelet,
it's-
Mr. Mush? Did you cut
Yes.
your bracelet? We have found traces of HGH.
It's different.
So after that announcement, we go back here to Randy itself.
Unfair. Priests and bishops have been working overtime to remove Jesus from the record books and from the Last Supper.
Santiago Apostol, patrono
Now,
de España.
this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense, Joe. As we know from the Easter special, they replaced the Pope with the rabbit. So why is there a Pope
Right.
here? Sorry. I'm going to call out your incongruity.
There's some for continuity there, yeah.
Yeah, if you introduce the Pope as the rabbit, because Kyle had to kill him, that means it was all for nothing.
Kill the freaking Pope.
Killing the freaking Pope. Anyway, the Pope says it's really a shame that Christ had to bring this embarrassment onto the church.
Protegiéndonos siempre con tu poderosa
We cannot tolerate any deity
intercesión por
who used illegal substances to perform his miracles, apparently. So there you go.
Jesucristo nuestro Señor.
I know people that paid $10 for those bracelets. I bet they all feel pretty stupid now.
It's all about bracelets, though. It's funny.
Right?
I bet they feel pretty dumb now.
Everything else is like, man, I just threw away $10.
Right?
Worst case scenario.
All right, so Stan now, still sad, goes to his room and looks at his What Would Jesus Do wristband. Say South Park Elementary, Butters is telling Cartman about a conversation he had with the preacher, saying that the preacher said that he would have to put an asterisk next to Jesus when he read the New Testament. Cartman comments, dark times.
Nope.
When Cartman goes to his locker room, he sees that Stan still has his What Would Jesus Do bracelet. The other male fourth graders then tell Stan that he should get rid of his wristband and that Jesus being drugs is making everyone feel cheated. Mr. Mackey walks by and asks what will he do. Craig also agrees with Cartman, but Stan does not give in. Later on the Charlie Rose show, Stan is now interviewed by Charlie Rose. In this interview, Stan tells Charlie that he just likes the wristband, which in turn, brown wristbands come out for people who want to be themselves, mimicking Stan. Stan, confused, is told by Butters that he was for what Stan did for the farmers in Belarus. So again, they're talking about pop culture stuff here, about how, one boy's movement or I guess defiant act has somehow motivated the farmers of Belarus to not stand down against their oppressors who are trying to, I guess, take eminent domain over their land. Here's some more clips. He looks down. What would Jesus do?
What would he do?
Next day at school.
Yeah, and so then I asked the preacher, well, what about the New Testament?
Uh-huh.
And he says, well, you still should ought to read it, but you're going to need to put an asterisk next to Jesus' name whenever it comes up.
So weak, dude. Dark times, bro. Dark times.
Dark times, man. Dark times. All right, so now at the locker here with Stan, Butters, and Cartman, as I mentioned, Stan starts to get scolded by those two and the other boys for continuing to wear his wristband.
Dude, what the hell? You're wearing a What Would Jesus Do bracelet! All right, I got it a few weeks ago. Big whoop. The big whoop isn't that you have one. The big whoop is that you're still wearing it.
Yes, Dan. Didn't you hear Jesus did all his miracles on drugs?
Yeah, I know. Well, don't you care? Jesus, asterisk Christ, Stan. People...
Jesus,
That's right. They have to put an asterisk next to his name because we don't know. Was he the real Christ?
Oh,
That's
God.
what basically is what we're saying. Jesus, asterisk Christ. That's a good point. Eric.
That's...
We're feeling really cheated by all this.
Mr. Mackey walking around like a lost child, a lost pup.
Yeah.
Where do I go? What do I do?
Cartman's right. If you care about fairness, Dad, then you really have to lose the bracelet.
Oh, Craig, with some interesting retrospective here.
Yeah. Fair point there.
Fairness,
there's ever a voice
Definitely.
of reason, it's
He
Craig.
definitely can be a voice of reason, 100%.
Look, I just don't want to, you guys. Honestly, it's not that big a deal.
Not that big of a deal. So much so that he now ends up on, as I mentioned.
It's the Charlie Rose Show. Here's Chuck.
So here's Charlie and Stan now on the Charlie Rose Show about being defiant about cutting off his wristband.
We are here tonight with the only person in America who still wears his What Would Jesus Do?
They did all the research that fast.
Only
Stan's the only person. now.
It's like, what information are you basing it out of?
wristband. Please welcome Stan Marsh. Dick!
I missed that the first time I watched this episode. To catch that. Just right. Dick.
He just yells out, Dick.
I love too the little cups on the table. There's basically nothing in them at this point. Just a little splash.
Stan, after everything that's come out, after all the facts have been proven, why do you still wear the wristband?
I don't know. I just like it.
You just like it.
You just
Nice
like
yellow.
it. Huh? You just like it. So trying to antagonize him.
Like the color,
Yeah.
like the yellow.
I don't know. I've had it a long time. I just don't feel like cutting it off.
Well, joining us now is just one of the billions of people who think that anyone who still wears their What Would Jesus Do wristband is doing all of society a disservice. Chris Martin, you say that Stan Marsh is a dick?
This is a child.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. My problem with this kid is he doesn't care about the truth, okay? If Jesus rose from the dead with the help of drugs, that's fine. But then he went on to say it was a miracle, and that is where it became dangerous.
That's where it became dangerous.
That's where it became dangerous.
That's where it became dangerous.
Right, now we go to Stan's rebuttal. I like the way it looks or whatever.
What about the Incas? What about the Aztecs? Millions of people who were murdered in Jesus' name, and then Jesus turns out to be a fraud. Wearing that bracelet is a slap in the face to everyone. What do you say about that, Stan?
I don't know. I like it.
All right, well, we searched high and low to find my next guest who actually agrees with Stan Marsh and thinks he's doing the right thing.
That's right. They bring on like somebody less than intelligent here for this.
Please welcome a retarded fish.
Oh, the retarded fish.
Now, retarded fish, you don't see any problem at all with someone keeping that bracelet. That's because you're a retarded fish and you don't know any better.
Like he understands what the fish just said.
What about the Crusades, the Inquisitions? How many people were tortured and put to death for somebody who was a fake?
You know,
Like the fish can understand what you're saying, pal.
even though he's rambling,
Jesus.
the last part here about the crusade stuff is technically an argument I make a lot when it comes to religion. And I don't, the reason why I don't like organized religion, like I agree. What I was going to say is, you know, the argument I make for organized religion is people have died over it, right? And if you want to like have your own beliefs and you want to have your own, you know, thoughts about whatever it is when it comes to religion, do that. But to try and stuff it down people's throats, make it part of society, make it part of politics, trying to make it part of schools again here in the Midwest of the United States, that is where you're potentially crossing a boundary line into going back to a civilization in which people were killing each other over who's right and who's wrong about what God to believe. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, it's literally more people on this planet have died because of that than literally anything else, right? Specifically in the name of Jesus, like literally millions and millions and millions and multi-millions of deaths, right? Just because, wait, you don't believe what I believe? We must kill you.
Like, I don't even like to bring up the example, but I mean, if you think about it, that's what the Holocaust was too, right? I mean, that was Hitler being a Christian or whatever it was, and him then trying to eradicate the Jewish people. So, I mean, all over who's got the right or wrong about what invisible thing to energy to praise in the sky. It's ridiculous, man.
And then if you really want to blow your mind with that, if you search back, if you do some historical research, you'll find that there's actually, in Hitler's bloodline, there's actually Jewish. So he's actually
exactly.
He was actually
so
part
he was just self-loathing and hating himself. It's just self-loathing, self-hating. He should have eradicated himself right from the beginning. The world would have been a better place.
Yeah. Well, Hitler was just a dick. There you go.
What about the Crusades,
social
Stan? Does that
commentary
enter
from
into
me.
your decision at all?
No, I don't know. No.
Anything to add, retarded fish? No, I'm good. Thank you.
Just adds the fish there at the end. No, I'm good. Thank you.
I'm good.
I'm good. Thank you.
Was he wearing a bicycle helmet? I just realized he's wearing a bicycle
that's
helmet.
because that's the prototypical stereotype, right, that they've established with Carter before. Remember when he was in the Special Olympics episode? How did I know? I'm retired. When he says that.
Probably like he went bang his head into the bowl and stuff, right. I'm assuming, too. So, safety reasons.
So now we go back to school, and this is at this point, as I mentioned, Butters tells Stan that he's both Butters and Mr. Garrison both come up to Stan and basically thank him for like standing up for his beliefs and stuff like that and not backing down from his own conviction. So here we are back at South Park Elementary.
Stan! Yeah. Hey, Stan, can I talk to you? Listen, Stan, I just want to tell you, you've really been an inspiration, okay?
I have.
Yeah, I can't believe in Jesus anymore because he's a damn fraud. So what I'm going to believe in is just being me and being independent like you. So what I did is I got this brown bracelet to remind me of standing my ground, okay? And just believing in the cause of being me.
You're wearing a bracelet to think of me?
Oh, I'm not the only one. There's lots of people doing it. Hey, Butters, stand ground.
Stand ground, Mr. Mackey.
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you think at this point Stan has already gotten into his head? Hell yeah, I could become successful again. So, but not thinking that he's going to end up jacking it in San Diego, even though he's done it twice.
That's right. He's not done that yet, but it's
okay. Yeah. So now Butters explains to Stan about the farmers or about Stan ground.
Anyway, thanks, Stan, and just keep on standing your ground. Okay.
You're wearing a brown bracelet now, Butters?
Well, yeah. It helps remind me that I shouldn't back down anymore when I feel pressure from other people. I just got really moved after I saw what you did for all those farmers in Belarus.
All right, I talked about what did they do for the farmers in Belarus, Joe? Well,
unless I missed something, or I haven't seen the director's cut of the episode, I have not seen
that. Didn't really do anything.
Farmers in where?
And the guys are now speaking in, I don't know what Belarus speaks, so I apologize if you're listening to the podcast. You're in Belarus. Tell us.
I believe that they speak Russian because, Belarus was part of the Soviet Republic, right?
America.
So,
we don't care.
Yeah.
Well, you're in Canada, so they teach you worldwide stuff, events like that. Move aside, farmers, says the Russian gentleman, apparently. This land is no longer yours. And then they say, we will not move aside. We will stand our ground. I think they all have the bracelets. Yeah, they all stick their hands up like the child on the Charlie Rose show. So apparently, people in Russia or Belarus, even though they have no electricity out there and they're trying to stand their ground and not have their farm taken from them, they look like they live in a second world civilization. They apparently have access to the television channel.
They still have Charlie Rose. Yeah. I'd be surprised how far things go.
So now it's on the internet. Stan Butter is now watching this.
Dude, where are people getting all the brown wristbands?
I don't know. I got mine down at 7-Eleven.
So, Butters, I don't know. I got mine down at 7-Eleven.
Get one with a free
So this
bingo.
is what ends up happening. This is basically what, if you will, like, this is going to break off into like two storylines here. One, where do the wristbands come from? That's the first part of the storyline. And the second is,
right.
Well, Stan's going to blow up now. As he goes into the 7-Eleven, the worker at the counter notices Stan, and then Steve Nelson from Nike comes in and he says, hey, are you ready for your Nike commercial? And Stan says, yes. And then we go to a bunch of Nike commercials involving Stan doing numerous physical exercises. And when people tell him to, sit down, he goes, no thanks, I'll stand.
This is like the part of like the genius of the writing on the show is like sometimes like that branching kind of like happens earlier. Sometimes in this case, like middle of the episode, the two parts of the story kind of branch off. But then like the genius of it is then it'll meet back up somehow at the end, right? So in a way that still makes sense. If that is the correct way of saying it. But that's one of the beauties of South Park, of these episodes with that branching storyline. And then they always manage to merge it back together. It's impressive.
Now at 7-Eleven with the boys.
Oh, wow, it's you! Stand ground, bro!
Wow, this is happening so fast.
Happening so fast, the Nike commercial man apparently was waiting outside for him.
Hello, Stan. Steve Nelson with Endorsement Management. Are you ready for your Nike commercial?
He's got a pen and a piece of paper.
Okay. Oh, okay, I'm ready.
Yes.
No hesitation. Yes, I'll take the Nike commercial.
We
should at least look at the contract. Terms and conditions, baby.
Yeah.
They went through the terms and conditions.
As Kyle knows. Make sure you read the terms and conditions.
So Butters just said something to him right then and there.
Well, how do you know, Kyle?
Exactly.
If you know what you're agreeing to, you read it.
Here's Stan.
My friends told me I was crazy.
He's just doing physical. He's writing out signs. Stupid.
That I was wasting my time.
Yeah, they like to do these black and white parody commercials like they did in the early 2000s or whatever.
Yeah.
My cause is to stand my ground. When others sat, I kept my bracelet on. Because I stand for standing.
Would you like to be seated?
No thanks. I'll stand.
I think he ends up on an airline here.
Hey, you want to sit down?
Oh, wait, where is he? The movie theater? No thanks. I'll stand.
I'm good.
Sir, the captain's asked everyone to take their seats.
Tell the captain to take off.
Tell the captain to take off.
I like too that the Nike logo is just different enough for them to get past copyright.
When others sat, I stand ground.
People ask me, you never took the bracelet off? Not once?
No.
No. Never. Not ever.
Stand for something.
What do I do?
Stand up.
I stand ground.
Double swoosh,
the double Nike
exactly.
logo.
So there you go. That's the catching you up there on some of the clips there. Back now at South Park Elementary. Obviously, Stan's a little, famous now. So at the school, though, scientists interrupt Mr. Garrison's lesson to get Stan's bracelet because apparently Craig has made an accusation that Stan cut off his wristband and then glued it back together. The scientists, though, eventually are going to get a hold of this bracelet. They're going to do some DNA testing, and it's going to be announced that Stan, in fact, did cut it off.
He didn't stand his ground.
Even Kyle confronts Stan about it, and Stan comes to the solution that it was the French scientist who's making this all up, which he is not. I mean, obviously, that guy's just doing his job. All right, so here we go, back in South Park Elementary.
Now, when Dr. Drew told Jeff Conway he was on a one-way street to nowhere, what tactics did he use to try and convince...
What? Okay, hold on. What show is he talking about? Let's go back.
He's not explaining the child song.
Now, Rehab with Dr. Drew, Season 1, Jeff Conway from Grease and Taxi. Celebrity Rehab, alcohol, cocaine and painkillers, help in bathroom, something, and suicide. Return to therapy with Seth Binzer. That's funny.
When Dr. Drew told Jeff Conway he was on a one-way street to nowhere, what tactics did he use to try and convince...
And now these guys, scientists, bust into the classroom with a guy, the cameraman, you're right. I also want to point out that Stan is currently sitting, not standing. He should be standing his ground.
Yeah.
Mr. Marsh, if you don't mind, we'd like to see your bracelet.
For what?
If you have nothing to hide, then please hand it over, Mr. Marsh.
If you have nothing to hide. Well, they got this guy again.
Travel all the way to do that.
That's his job. He just officially exposes all these sports stars and Nike athletes. That's his job in life.
What are you people talking about?
Are we good? We live?
Are we good? We got it? All right, so now the news is ready to give a report about this.
Tom, I'm here at South Park Elementary, where officials have barged their way in after reports that Stan Marsh of the Stand Ground Foundation did, in fact, at one point, remove his yellow bracelet. Rumors have surfaced that Stan did not stand his ground, as previously stated, and that the wristband is, in fact, superglued back together. Please let us check your wristband for superglue.
So, of course, Stan goes into ultra defense mode.
No, this is stupid. He's the one
one person who doesn't do stuff like that. Why don't you leave him alone?
Are you afraid we might find glue on your bracelet, Mr. Marsh?
No, I never cut it off.
Then let us see it.
So, of course,
Let us see it.
So Stan now, of course, going to get a little angry. Who the heck would do this? And we find out it was Craig here in this scene.
This is an outrage. Who out there is saying that our friend Stan is a liar?
I cannot say, but he is a reliable and credible source who is of the utmost prestige.
Who?
All right, it was Craig.
This guy throws Craig under the bus. I feel like there's some sort of code of ethics, guy. You can't throw your source under the bus. Yeah. Come on.
Just immediately.
No, then you have to try hard.
Craig, you asshole! What's the big idea, Craig?
It just looked like you cut it off, that's all.
You got nothing better to do than try and knock me down? You can't just say anything you want about people.
Ooh, look at him go, standing his ground. Yeah!
Look at him go, standing his ground. He gets excited. Now that he's standing up in his chair.
You know what happens when you lie, Craig? You hold that lie inside.
Go, Stan!
And it grows right in your balls until they have to cut it out.
Little unnecessary, but go, Stan!
Go ahead and test it. Then let's just see what happens to this money-hungry, alcoholic prostitute.
What?
Wow. Damn.
Hungry alcoholic prostitute. Interesting. That must be a reference somewhere.
I would not have used that to describe Craig, but okay.
Yeah! Prostitute!
All right, well. Breaking news. What?
Butter.
Prostitute? Breaking news, Stan did cut off his wristband.
This is breaking news. The tests are done and the results are in. The little boy who claimed he never cut off his What Would Jesus Do bracelet did cut it off and lied about it. Not only did we find traces of a super glue, but of yellow magic marker as
Yellow
Marker.
well. This is a dark day for honest French-Swedish people everywhere.
There you go, Joe. French-Swedish, that's what they are. Okay.
Though the tests seem conclusive, Stan Marsh continues to deny any cheating.
So, of course, he's got all these posters now up in his room. Stand up for your rights. Stand up for yourself. What would you stand for? Stand your ground. As he's still decked out in all his Nike gear.
And as he's sitting.
He's not standing.
Or laying down at this point.
And, of course, Stan doing the typical celebrity sports star thing where you get caught and they immediately go, I didn't do it. Wasn't my fault. Well, Kyle now comes to confront him.
Yeah. Hey, dude. People are kind of pissed off at you.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Right? Thanks, bro. You didn't think I noticed?
You probably should come clean and tell the truth. Did you superglue your bracelet? Why does it matter? Because you kind of made it matter.
That's right. Exactly. You made it matter.
Technically true.
Because, look, if Stan doesn't go on the Nike commercial, then he never gets famous enough, so nobody ever reports it. Right, exactly. But by taking the Nike commercial, now he makes it matter.
Yep.
You know, I'm just through with this whole thing. I can't put my family through any more of this.
Typical response. I can't do this. Can't put my family and friends, I really care about their well-being. Mm-hmm. Really? You did? Okay.
Yeah.
So you did superglue it.
You know what's really sad?
As he's got a buttload of Nike boxes full of shoes and gear and stuff he's probably gotten.
Tons of merch.
This is what matters to people. What nobody seems to remember are the farmers in Belarus. Stan Ground is bigger than me.
So, of course, Stan is trying to associate something that he didn't start in Belarus to his own logo brand, if you will, to try and justify.
Trying to deflect away from himself.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to tell all those farmers in Belarus it's all bullcrap?
Dude, the sooner you eat your peas, the sooner you can try to win some of your friends back. You need to Bill Clinton this.
Yeah.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Okay, I did.
That dude could have literally looked into the camera like, I am not here.
Look, I wasn't technically lying, okay? I didn't actually stick my penis into her hole. She just took her hole in her mouth and stuck it on my penis, you know what I'm saying? I didn't actually penetrate.
Oh, a spit take.
actually penetrate there. Just doing my best.
Shit. Jesus.
You really think I went through all that trouble, lying about my wristband and claiming to be something I wasn't? For what, Kyle? For what?
As we do a wide pan here of all the stand ground merch, and Kyle's going to kind of look around like, really, dude? Really? Really?
This is a witch hunt, dude. It's all that stupid French scientist. He's the fraud, and I'm gonna...
As Stan is standing in front of a wall-sized poster, bigger than him, that says stand for something. Looks like there's a football helmet there you might have gotten in the background, too. In the corner. Some sort of sports helmet.
I'm gonna prove it.
So now Stan is going to try and prove it. All right, let's jump back into more of the recap of this episode. So, here we go. At the scientist's house, the scientist is repeatedly doing tasks for his wife. He has to keep getting enough. His wife's ask him to do stuff. Stan breaks in. The scientist's wife gets to check on him to see if someone's in the house. Stan finds Jesus also sneaking into the house. Jesus explains that he's trying to find something to discredit the scientists. Once they both realize they're doing the same thing, they're caught by the scientist, who then asks them if he'd like them to make some cocoa bread and sausages. While they talk, Jesus and Stan both deny that they had been said about them and come up with the solution to the farmers in Belarus are what everyone should be focusing on, and that they need bracelets. So this is where we get our first introduction. We get at the Pitolev bracelet factory.
Yep.
Stan asks the owner to make bracelets. The owner refers them to skazes, and when Stan asks what a skaz is, the owner is a Dr. Seuss-like character.
Yeah.
And he tells them what skazes are. Skazes are causes that can be worn on the wrist. At the scientist's house now.
Would you mind getting me some water, darling? Can't you see I'm trying to do my calisthenics? But my throat is parched, dear, and I'm so scared of burglars. Is the tap water going to be okay, or do you want me to go down to a crystal geyser and bring Her Highness some right from the spring? Tap is fine, dear.
You're Trey doing female voices. It's so friggin' funny. Because Trey's doing the wife's voice.
Darling, could you change the channel for me? The remote is dead. You just want me to change the channel, or should I go and make a TV program written just for you? No, just change to channel 10, thanks. It's starting to feel like the Carol Burnett show in here. What was that? I think somebody's here. Maybe it's the pee-pee fairy, so somebody can take a pee-pee for you, too.
The pee-pee fairy.
As this guy's... I happen to think maybe either the wife is just so over him acting sarcastic, so she just agrees with what he says, or she doesn't know that he's being sarcastic, so she's just answering naturally. No, that's okay.
Hard to say. But...
Right? All right, so here's... he's going to go down and check now.
Please, I'm terrified. Please go check it out.
He goes down there, and as I mentioned, we both find Stan.
The man who lives here has led a witch hunt to destroy my legacy. I am simply here to search for something I can use to
discredit him too. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, it's a Tweedledum and a Tweedledee trying to break into my house.
Jesus, everyone's claiming you were using drugs to resurrect. Why didn't you say anything?
Sometimes it is best to say nothing, my son.
Yeah, I've been kind of seeing that.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Exactly. Sometimes it's best to say nothing, and if Stan had not taken the Nike commercial, not said anything,
right?
Then nobody would have investigated him.
Oh, Jesus.
To intrude, but do you want to please leave, or should I make some coffle bread and the sausages?
It all just happened so...
Now they're sitting down in his house, and they're just going to eat some food.
Oh, I'd go for some sausage. I like sausage.
Fast. The next thing I knew, I had a Nike commercial.
Yeah, I know how it goes.
Everyone hates me now, and it isn't fair.
I know. I just feel like if people could see me in action, they'd realize I'm not a fraud.
Here you go, coffle bread and the sausages for you.
Thanks a lot.
He's got like a maid outfit.
Stop that he's had to do it.
He's got a maid outfit.
Here's your fucking sausages, asshole.
Jesus, did you take HGH to do your miracles?
No! That's just... No, okay?
Did you cut your wristband of me, my son?
No. Everyone just lost their faith. Did you cut your wristband off, my son?
No. No, okay? No. And anyway, it's not even the issue.
I know, right?
It's like...
As they're doing this reactionary, like... whatever.
That's here, and...
Yeah, and we're like, here.
There's farmers in Belarus who are in a life and death struggle. That's what should be important.
Yeah, instead of focusing on us, we need to get everyone focusing on what matters. Where's Belarus?
It's next to Russia.
Exactly. People don't even know where it is.
Maybe if we could get people to care about it, then I could go and save it, and people would be stoked on me again.
How can we raise awareness?
And they go to the factory.
You're wearing one of our brown scarves already. Delightful. What color would you like your new scarves to be?
Our scarves?
Well, of course. You came for a scarves to wear on your paws, and you want others to wear yours upon theirs.
So yes, this guy's going to rhyme, as we mentioned, like Dr. Seuss.
Yep.
I'm confused.
Perhaps I should start from the beginning.
So now we get this Dr. Seuss-like city, I guess, that exists in the same universe as South Park.
Even the artwork is Dr. Seuss. Yep.
Yeah, and they're going to explain what it's like.
In the modern age, there are those who believe that a cause is a thing to be worn on one's sleeve. And so, we sell a cause. It's called a scarves. And wearing a scarves gets you lots of applause. We start with some plastic, which is sherped by our Sherpas.
All these weird names for, like, people that don't exist. And these wacky contraptions.
Right.
Then dip it in colors that show off your purpose. There are green scarves for recycling, blue scarves for kitties, and pink scarves that focus on nothing but titties.
That's funny. That's good rhyming. That's great rhyming.
That was very good.
Do you hate abortion? Then a white scarves is for you. Why not champion your scarves with some sparkles and glue? We make scarves for this. We make scarves for that. Why, there's even a scarves for just being fat.
Is there? That'd be... I guess there would be, right? Like, I'm bold and beautiful, I guess.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And I like how this thing, you can't tell if that's his pants or just his lower half, whatever it is.
I don't think he's wearing pants.
Okay.
What's the matter? Can't think of a scars? How about raising awareness for the hairs in your schnoz? Let's just think of the thing that you care about most.
So he wrote Belarus on it. And now this is where he's going to do, now I'm off in a treadle and I must be gone. Blah, 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 blah. Scars, blah, blah.
Then let's make it orange like marmalade toast. And now I'd like to say thank you for your coming down. I'm off to go sell these in your little town.
Dude, the hell just happened?
That is a great question. What the hell?
What
just happened? All right, continuing on now. So, back at school, Mr. Mackey gives some students an update and says that he now wears an orange bracelet to support the farmers in Belarus. Cartman asks what the new bracelet is, and Clyde explains, but says that it isn't made with reduced plastic. And Cartman says that he doesn't care about that. But Clyde points out that he has a bracelet saying he does, which is more of a commentary on people who just support things blindly without understanding what they're supporting. Butters asks Stan if he cut off his wristband to shed light on the people of Belarus, and Stan says that he may have, leaving it a mystery, and Butters says Stan is a cute, sneaky little butthole. But you're my cute, sneaky little butthole. Jesus, meanwhile, then gets interviewed live, and while talking about how they need to help the farmers of Belarus, the farmers are killed, making the orange scazes worthless. And in town, people are mad at the factory of the owner of the scaz factory, as he's taken all their money, and he's left them without scazes. There's no scaz. So here's Mr. Mackey now in the hallway, talking about his new wristband.
Just my orange wristband, okay? It's to show my solidarity with the people of Belarus. Okay, you should know that the Belarusian government is right now trying to...
We know, Mr. Mackey. We all have our Belarus bracelets, too.
Oh, you do? Oh, you got those? Okay, that's good. Good you're doing something about it, okay? Hey, kids.
See, that's the thing. You know, this was before, I'd say, this is 2012. So, again, internet's still getting started. Now, instead of that, people just go online. right?
Yep.
Because this is what people believe they need to do to get some sort of voice out there. At least in this age, in the modern age, going online, Twitter's free to say something versus like having to go out and buy something to quote unquote show your support for a cause.
Yep.
But really, what is it doing? Nothing, because a lot of these times people were just capitalizing on chaos, and it's not like any of this money is going to help anybody.
No, it's just a trend.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a trend to think you're part of the solution, not part of the problem or something.
Exactly.
Kids over here.
Dude, what's this about orange bracelets? Where do you get them?
There's a guy selling them downtown, but they're not made from recycled plastic.
Dude, I don't give a crap about using recycled plastic.
Yes, you do.
I guess I do care about that.
Cartman,
See, that encompasses it right there, right? He doesn't even know like what he's protesting against.
right? And then like, oh, I guess I do.
Hey, Stan.
So now here's Butters confronting Stan about cutting off his wristband to actually show support for Belarus and calls him a sneaky little butthole.
Well, some people are saying that you knew what you were doing all along. That you cut off your wristband on purpose to shed light on the Belarusian farmers.
People are saying that?
Yeah.
Start smiling.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, really? You're saying that? Well, maybe I did, maybe I didn't.
Is it true?
Well, whatever it takes, Butters. People are aware of the problems in Belarus. Maybe I did it on purpose, or maybe it was just a coincidence.
Yeah, whatever, Stan. I thought you were a butthole, but now I think you're a cute, sneaky little butthole.
Stan's so proud of himself here.
We did it.
He looks up to
It has become the biggest concern for most people, the farmers of Belarus and their plight against their government.
And as I mentioned now, Jesus live from Belarus. People want to know what I'm doing. I'm out here on a farm in Belarus. That's what I'm doing. Trying to make a difference. And sir, what are your comments on the Belarusian people? What are you going to do now that all the people in Belarus have died?
And now one person is taking it upon himself to end the crisis. His name? Jesus.
These are very troubling times, and these farmers are literally fighting for their lives. You know, I'm here just to do whatever I can.
So you see people in the background there, tanks, as well as dump trucks.
Jesus, some people might be thinking you're doing this as some kind of a publicity stunt to put to rest the rumors of your drug use.
You know, I don't even have time to think about that.
I don't even have time to think about that right now. I'm doing so much. I'm working hard. So I can't be bothered with those type of thoughts.
This is a crisis that needs my attention, and I'm just here to do whatever I can. I've talked to the government here, and I've talked to the farmers, and I think we have everything just about worked out.
As they start blowing them up in the background.
Dying.
You know, whatever
Jesus doesn't hear this. He doesn't turn around. There's a giant explosion behind him.
Not even phased.
Stupid rumors people want to believe about me, it doesn't change the fact that the people of
And now the people of Belarus are now Belarus. They're now getting mowed down in the background by gunfire.
Need my help.
I believe it's Belarus, Jesus.
Yes, it very well may be if we don't do something now.
So you think...
Shit.
Yes, it very well may be. May well be if we don't do something now.
You've done something here to keep the conflict from escalating, is that right?
I'm just doing what I've always done. People want to know what I'm on. What am I on? I'm on a farm in Belarus busting my ass. What are you on?
What are you on? What are you on now?
And now that the Belarusian farmers are all dead, what will you try next?
What?
So Jesus, what? And then he turns around.
Oh, shit.
God damn.
All right, so jumping ahead now. Here's Mr. Mackey and the rest of the town upset about the fact that...
Not a problem. You can return your scars, and for just $5, I'll give you 2 more.
Okay, I need a violet one for domestic violence, a lime one for herpes, and a jade green one for how much I hate Kyle.
There's a jade green one for how much he hates Kyle.
Just for Kyle.
Just for Kyle.
Absolutely. $5, please.
Kyle now with Stan.
Heidi Turner says you asked her to borrow super glue last week.
Kyle's still investigating this.
Bro, just drop it.
Are you still on that, dude? Have you ever heard of ends justifying means?
Oh my, it's the sound!
What sound?
Of all sounds in all soundom, this one's most profound. That's the sound that means I must pack up my tent, It's the sound of the very last cent being spent. My work here is done, and just look at you now. You're all covered in scars from your hoof to your brow.
As everybody in town is now covered in these wristbands. In this Dr. Seuss animation, of course, still.
Enjoy all your scars.
And so, as they leave South Park, they got the South Park sign here in Dr. Seuss for them.
You look great in your cars. Be sure to give each other lots of applause. I'm off to the next town in my little truck. Have a nice day. Toodaloo.
And then... Fuck.
Dude, weak.
Fuck it. Fuck, dude, weak. Toodaloo. Fuck. So good. All right, so here's Stan and Jesus.
It's almost like that guy had this figured out all along.
Yeah.
We were trying to do good, but we got everyone duped by a bracelet company.
So yeah, they get everyone. Unfortunately, people feel like they get scammed by the bracelet company now, right? Because all they're after is just, money, right? And he's left them to scars. So Stan and Jesus are trying to think of ways to stop the owner. So Jesus goes ahead and he takes a big swig of HGH like Popeye the Sailor Man, becomes Hulk, destroys the bracelet factory, kills the owner by jamming him into one of the machines, and his body is brutally torn apart in the process. Later, Jesus tells them the town that they should all wear their causes, but not on scauses, on t-shirts. And then he starts a protest to Free Pussy Riot!
So random,
as the end of the episode comes to a close. So we'll go ahead and here and we'll jump into those last couple scenes here.
Yeah, well, I guess we're just going to have to accept that people aren't going to think very highly of us.
Well, we can't just let that guy get away with taking everyone's money.
What can we possibly do?
And then Stan asks the question, what would Jesus do?
What would Jesus do?
Oh, that's right. We can't play all this.
Now he knows.
So Jesus starts to get ready as this music of Let It Fly now, which is the Rocky theme song. Yeah. He stands up. I'm going to mute the music as we're watching the clips. So Jesus walks over and he opens up a bottle of what's called HGH, and he's going to take a shot of it.
Just going to hoover it.
Pours it into a cup. And then he's going to take a swig of this. And once he takes a swig of this, all of a sudden he kind of goes into like a Jekyll and Hyde thing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah!
So now
Super
he goes...
Jesus.
Super Jesus. So now Super Jesus goes on a tear as he goes to find the Scars with Applause guy. He runs in here. Okay, we can play the music again here. So he's now walking up to the Scars factory, all hulked out, and he's just going to start wrecking havoc.
Vengeance is mine!
Vengeance is mine.
No, please! Please show mercy!
Sticks him in the fish-looking contraption.
What is that?
Weird. It's a weird machine. That's what it is for sure. Stuffs him in there. And then as you can see, it starts to turn red in the window of where the liquid and paint dye was. Now it's red and body parts are in there.
Mulched him.
And then the factory gets the internal combustion inside of the machines pressurizes and it explodes the factory. And now everyone's going to be thrilled with Jesus. Even Kyle, he's there. Everyone's there. Everyone's happy.
Thank you, my children. We've all been through a lot.
So Jesus is going to do a little bit of rhyming.
We got caught up in scauses. That didn't mean squat. They turned my message away from the teachings it hid and made it about me and the things that I did, which of course I didn't do. And even if I did use performance-enhancing drugs, so did all the other prophets.
So, yeah. Take that.
Again, a shot at, of course, Lance Armstrong and the other Major League Baseball players.
But I didn't. So what if we...
Even though Stan and Kyle were, like, they're all looking... You know, Stan was there and saw him take the shot.
learned from this great wristband theft, maybe, that when stripped of our causes, only causes are left. And causes shouldn't be worn on our wrists with a sneer. Let's keep our causes where they belong, which is right here.
As he begins now to open up his robe, and he's going to show a t-shirt that says Free Pussy Riot.
On t-shirts, Free Pussy Riot!
Free Pussy Riot!
Yeah! And that's how the episode comes to an end. All right, well, guys, that's going to do it for another edition of SMB, a South Park Review. Guess what? Coming up next week, it's the season 16 finale. Obama wins again for the second term. What happens when President Obama becomes president-elect? And it all revolves around the Chinese trying to get the rights to Star Wars. It's coming up next week on another edition of SMB, a South Park Review.
If you just wanted a goddamn Tonto, I could have got you one. I got like a dozen of those coming out my ass.